Welcome everybody to the Five Cents Podcast. Today I'm gonna be your host, Nico. And let me go ahead and introduce the guys today. We got Zay,
What up?
we got Jackson,
Hello, hello.
we got Josh,
What's good?
and my boy Nate.
Yes, sir. What's up, y'all?
All right, so with the other episodes, we've talked about all types of topics, but I feel like one of the topics that we haven't really touched on that kind of hits home for all of us, is anime. I know we got a lot of non-anime watcher viewers, and we also probably got a lot of anime watcher viewers. So I wanted to have a good fun topic for all of us to relate on, and hopefully convince some of you non-anime watchers to get on it. So our first question I wanted to ask you boys is, if y'all were to find someone that hasn't watched anime before, how would you go about convincing them to watch anime? Because it's pretty tough, bro. I know we've all tried it and it's been hard as fuck. So I mean, what do y'all think is a good way to go about it? And or any words y'all have to convince anyone to get on.
Nah, bro. I gotta say, I just like to rip off the band-aid, bro. I feel like, especially for people like us, until you know us, you think we're just some normal ass dudes, bro. But then, like, I know for a lot of like the friends I knew in high school, I just pulled out the list, bro, the My Anime list, and they said, "You watched all of that, and you still seem like you're normal." So that means that there's got to be something to it, bro. So I feel like that's the easiest way, just to be like, if this is the only thing you're really watching, like, there's every once in a while there's a good like show, the snowfall types and such. But if 90% of the good content you're watching is anime, like, somebody's gotta believe it. And if you can't convince them like that, I don't know how they're gonna start watching it.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I feel like one of the main things that's like hard about doing it, is getting past that weird like stigma. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many good animes that are like better than all these Netflix and Hulu shows. I feel like, but I don't know. I feel like getting someone to understand that there's more to it than just the weird shit is probably the hardest thing. So, what
I
you
Yeah.
guys
feel
think?
like approach that I usually try to take is like I try to compare it to like live action shows. I'm like, look, if you watch this and you think this is good, there is an anime that is in the exact genre that is probably 5 to 10 times better. Because what
Grey's
people don't
Anatomy.
usually well, that's just ass. But I'm not going to speak on that. I'm not going to speak. I'm not going to speak on that because I watched 7 seasons, so I feel like I watched enough to say that it was ass
This man
and have
embrace
a
the
valid
ass, bro.
opinion. No, no, no. That I think is garbage. But
You
that's
said
beside the
Grey's Anatomy is ass.
Yes,
What made you
It,
watch 7 seasons?
yeah, bro.
my
I only got
mom.
through like 4 episodes. I don't know how
Say
you
less.
did it.
Say less.
No, I just used to watch it
Living,
with my
hey Nate,
mom.
hey Nate, living rent free. That's crazy.
Exactly. Man.
But I do think that there's just like a genre that is going to be the exact same type of genre that you like that's in the anime. I feel like I guess there's like a stigma because it's like a cartoon that are like, oh, like that's only for kids. When I've seen some of the most realist, goriest, you name it, it's there. And like you can connect to it. And what people don't understand is you could do so much more through animation. You're kind of limited on what you could do in a live action. And but like the stuff that they're doing there, you can easily translate to an anime and then add more to, really like heighten the effect. So that's what I think is so like great about it. So I guess I usually try to, like welcome them into something that they should be interested in based off of the stuff I already watch. Trying to make it relate. So that's usually
Yeah.
my take.
No, I think because I actually watched an interesting video essay on a similar topic. It wasn't specifically anime, but it was kind of like the transition of adult cartoons that started back when like Disney kind of monopolized the cartoon industry way back in the day. And it was this interesting like topic where it was almost immediately demonized because people who wanted to make adult cartoons kind of intentionally eschewed a lot of social boundaries. It would make them hyper gory, hypersexual, just odd in general. So it kind of just adult flavored cartoons or cartoons that were marketed towards adults adopted this semi like, I guess, frowned upon socially sort of image. And the interesting thing about anime is I feel like it also bears the brunt of a lot of that image, because for a lot of people who haven't watched it, their presumption of what the genre is going to be is largely based around waifus and just senseless fan service, right? Which, to not gonna lie, that exists. That 100% exists in the genre, but their perception of the percentage of what anime actually is compared to that is just way off, and that's a public perception thing. So I think when you're introducing someone to anime, it kind of comes down to, like, kind of what Josh said. You're gonna have to find something that aligns with their interests, and it's going to be difficult for you to present the genre as a whole. Like, it's always hard to go, hey bro, I think you should start watching anime, and put that whole thing in front of them, because the entire stigma comes to the front of their mind. But I mean, for me, like, that's how I thought for a little while back, what, early high school. Yeah. And then some of my friends put me on Attack on Titan, and I just loved the flavor of the show, and like the way the drama was written and the plot development, and that kicked me off, and I just went ahead and watched everything I felt like watching. And so that was my introduction as a person who at first had that stigma against not wanting to watch it because I thought it was going to be weird. And I will say, like, as someone who watches quite a bit of anime, at some point, yes, there are good shows with some nonsense in them that you're just gonna have to brush past it. Most of us can. You get to that point where you're like, man, I guess, but like the story is good enough. I'm just gonna. I think a great example is ReZero. I think the storyline of that show is phenomenal. Sometimes I look at the characters and I'm like, man, could y'all just not be bugging for like 10 minutes? Like, just make them look normal and we're good. But it's what they do. And so there comes a point after you get familiar with the genre that I think you'll start to figure out what you're okay with, what you're not okay with, which type of shows you like. But as far as putting someone new on anime, I have to say I 100% agree with Josh. Because if you just, show somebody who only likes dramas and you're like, hey, you should watch, fill in the blank, some shonen, they're probably not going to get pulled into the arc as much, because they're not interested in the combat. They want to see relationship scenarios and things like that happen, and tension and all that good stuff, which exists all the time in anime. It's a hugely popular genre with a lot of different facets, but you're going to have to specialize.
I think it depends on the gender of the person, honestly, because like with girls, I really don't even. I kind of just, if they don't, then they don't. If they do, then they do. Because I feel like with them, there's not a lot of female appealing animes. Like you could think of like I can think of like rom-coms, like romance ones that they might be interested in, but like as far as like, let's say a story about like a murderer or something would appeal much more to a guy than it would a female. And like I just don't think that, like, I feel like with them it's hit or miss. And as far as guys goes, I mean, I've never actually just really tried to convince someone to watch it in the first place. But if I ask someone, hey, do you watch anime, and they're like, nah, then I just let it be right there. Because like Jackson said, there's a the perception is usually like, when they think of anime, they think of like the things that people clip, like the weird shit that people clip and that
Josh
goes
stuff.
viral. Like you'll see you'll see like you'll talk about anime and they'll instantly think of like Naruto running headband wearing weirdos, or big titty women, like shit like that. It's like at some point it's like, yeah, you could defend yourself, but it's like you can't even lie, like you said. In some shows, like it's there, like it's there. You can't just act like it's not there.
Yeah.
And then for some people who are also anime watchers, there are also those people who do Naruto run and swing around fake swords, and you know what I'm saying? So you can't really just like say that doesn't exist either. But I think if I did have to try, I'd probably relate it back to like Adult Swim. I feel like a lot of people watched Adult Swim and didn't even know they were watching animes. They didn't know it was anime. Like, for example, I know a lot of people who watch Adult Swim and who like the show uh, Durara, I believe it was Durara with the
It's so good.
headless motorcycle chick.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people who watched that show and liked it and did not know that it was an anime. They thought it was just another show on Toonami. So they didn't even know what they were looking at.
Hmm.
So like generally, I think I would try that approach, like seeing if they've seen anything that they like an older show, seeing if they've seen anything that they like that maybe they didn't know, or just try to play on like what's trending. Like, hey, have you seen this? Because nowadays, like My Hero or Demon Slayer, like once they start trending, there's a lot of people who's gonna watch it, even if they're not an avid anime watcher, just because it's a trend. So I guess I try to hit on the trends and see if they've seen any like older shows that showed on TV, like actual like TV, and then try and go from there. Cause I like I have my own list, like what of like shows that I would recommend people to start off watching to get a good idea, and then I kind of stop it short so they could, if they are interested, then they're interested, and they can start exploring off on their own and finding their own personal genre that they like. So that's my approach on it.
Yeah, Josh and I had a mutual moment here that I think we need to address. Josh,
Okay.
I know you got something to say, so I'm gonna let you take the helm. But
Hey, let me get number
Okay.
3 then, bro.
Zay, I thought some of what you said, no offense, was just like a stupid amount of cap, bro. Girls do like anime. I know a lot of girls that like anime. And there is a whole genre for them out there. If you're telling me that girls don't like slice of life, you are capping. Or if you're telling me that these girls are, man, I see some girls out here like fangirling over damn it, some of these like characters like damn it Kakashi or Gojo or stuff like that. Like I've seen it all. So like I don't think that's true that girls don't, generally like anime.
yeah,
Especially now within like the past 2 years, it's almost become a trend to like anime.
hmm
So those people that are hopping on the trend are mainly girls, to be real, from what I'm seeing. Because the dudes, we've been in the back since the good old days, the middle school, the high school. We were getting baked for this stuff, and then now
Y'all like
people
anime.
see us and they're like, "Yo, you watch anime? That's what's up!" Like, bro, I've been watching this for a minute now. What you mean that's what's up? It's been what's up. But let me go ahead, Jackson. Go ahead, speak your sense.
I'm gonna present y'all a hot topic. Watching anime has gotten popular in the same way that gaming got popular, because gaming used to be for the turbo virgin nerds who pimples all over their face, like couldn't talk to anybody, super socially awkward. That's what people's perception was that
Mhm.
gaming was for people who were basically social rejects, social outcasts.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden there came this, I guess I would call it attention to detail in the gaming industry. Like, and I'm not talking like our youth, like PS2 was still popular. I'm talking before then, like the genesis of gaming, back when it was like arcade games just moving into popular mainstream networks. Like, how many dudes do you know who went to like the Donkey Kong tournaments, like that kind of thing? Like, early competitive gaming was seen as very niche, whereas now, through some good market attention and ability to get products out that were reasonably expensive and genuinely fun, especially with multiplayer. Look at it now. It's like kind of weird if you meet someone who's never played a video game before. You're kind of like, what? Like, never? Like, you've never even touched one? Like, that's kind of weird. I don't really trust you. Like, I don't know where you came from. So anime is on a similar path, and that you just pointed out, it was we put in the trench work back in the days when it wasn't cool, and then it started to become trendy, just like you guys were saying. I will say, and this is to Josh and Zay's credit. Zay, I know what you're saying, and that a lot of the major anime don't seem to have genre appeal for what you would consider a show for, I guess, marketed to females. They're mostly, at least in the marketing sense, marketed towards men. But they've hit this really nice niche, and anime has been using this niche for a very long time, where they create characters that are extremely iconic, and they also play on the rules of attraction. They've done it forever. That's why waifus are a thing. It's a whole market that they have mastered. except they flipped the script. But you've got all these shonen characters. They've decided, let's just make them hot and see what happens. And so, just like what Josh said, like you've got, Twitter polls and fan pages, and I mean, it doesn't matter. Like you could choose any anime except actually, I won't even say that because there are now for Attack on Titan since season 4 came out. Yeah, 100%. I was gonna say maybe except that, but almost any of the major animes that are out right now, you can catch people thirsting over literal children in the show, like literal 14-year-olds. That's another topic. But like,
but they're
let's
magicians
take-
or wizards or something, so they're really
they're ancient they're ancient demons with wisdom and stuff. So that makes them okay if they look like they're into the body of a
It's all an
10-year-old. So it's
illusion,
not
man.
weird. And like, I mean this not in an offensive way at all, but it's such an odd, it's so weird to me, only because there's this weirdly, it's like a touchy subject almost about who watches anime for what reason. People get very gatekeepy defensive about like, no, like you're not a true fan because this and that. That's its whole own argument. But like I told y'all, the reason I did not want to watch My Hero was because of those people, because they were the ones who I saw producing My Hero content, and it was all nonsense. And I knew that the show was about like some 15-year-olds, and I was like, "There's ain't no way, bro. Like I can't do this." And then, did not even sound hypocritical, my favorite show is Hunter x Hunter. You can't scroll through TikTok if you're on any sort of anime TikTok. You can't scroll through the comments without finding 20 Killua profile pics and all those edits and stuff, and you're just like, bro, like I can't say I can't say you're enjoying it for the wrong reason, because that would be disingenuous to a lot of the purpose of anime. It's meant to be enjoyed. However, you need to chill out. And it's so when you say like, I get what you're driving for when you are talking about like typical advertising. It's the same way I would say most modern video games aren't advertised for women, is because they've been very established in a genre to advertise for men. That's how it's been for a very long time. It's not fair. That was the way that big game companies decided to do it back in the day. But anime is starting to get smarter, and they're starting to realize how to market to both genders with a neutral genre. Like Jujutsu Kaisen, I've talked to about 50-50 guys and girls about Jujutsu Kaisen, and everyone seems to like it. It's just a good show. And part of that reason is because it's enjoyable. Another reason I hear quite a lot is Gojo, because there you go. He's Mr. Fantasy Man, and I get it, but that's just an example of what I think like a smart design tactic is in the show.
Yeah, I was just gonna add to for every waifu, there's a husbando somewhere for every lady out there watching
I
anime.
hate that word, bro. I hate both those words. They're so
But
no, take that word out of here.
I did want to say though, like, yeah,
You haven't, Nico? Oh, you're so lucky.
Don't look it up because
Do
it's a
not look it
dangerous
up
game.
on Twitter. Don't.
It's a dangerous game.
You are
bro.
signing away your life. You remember what I told you the first? I won't repeat it, but you remember what I told you the first video I saw on My Hero was?
Yeah, that's that category for sure.
That's exactly
For
what that category is.
Attention on
Yeah, I'm
viewers.
not looking
Do
that
not
mug up
Google
either.
Husbando.
No.
I repeat, do not.
Heck no. But I did want to add too, it was funny that we kind of brought up kind of the difference of gender in anime and history, because like I know I was talking to them about it earlier, but like my sister is really the one who put me on the anime. I was growing up watching Sailor Moon and stuff with her, and she was recommending me shows like Assassination Classroom, like Gurren Lagann. So she watched like all these different types of genres, even though it's kind of mainly was centered toward kind of that dude or guy perspective they go for a lot in Japan. But I feel like it was important that you brought up like that Adult Swim idea relating to anime, because the big difference between that and a lot of the network shows that kind of get put on, at least in America, is that Adult Swim is willing to take a lot more chances on some of the smaller niche shows that end up blowing up a lot more. And I feel like in the same way, anime does a lot of that, because you don't have to be from a big studio production company in Japan to blow up as a big anime. They really take almost any idea, whether it's a manga or a light novel or anything, and kind of put that into a show that can be top 5 or top 10, anything basically. So in the same way, I feel like anyone can hop on to anime because they have so much options on what they kind of bring in the shows, that there's always a show out there for somebody, whether they like, I don't know, just slice of life, or they want a funny rom-com or something, or they just want straight hands and action and boxing with a lot of shonen. So I feel like because of that diversity that they have a lot of the times in Japan, it makes it a lot easier for people to kind of hop on the wave, because even if you don't like some of the the tropes that they have in some of, the bigger trendy shows that we see, all over Twitter and stuff like that. If you ask the right person, they're guaranteed to be able to find you at least one show. If you tell them what the type of show you like and kind of like the idea that you're looking for, that'll fall into that category of what you'll kind of put you on to the anime in the future. So
For sure.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely see what you guys are saying though, for sure. So, I mean, you guys have any more input on this topic before I switch up to the next one? 'Cause I think y'all got it, man.
Take it away, my guy.
But all right, so for the next topic, and you guys kind of touched on it a little bit, but it was actually like so recently, like Josh said, in the past 2 years, like we've all noticed it, but anime is becoming a lot more prominent with our like generation and our age group. So I was just gonna ask, like, what do you guys think the reason is? Like we've been through the ringer, we've been waiting for this moment, and finally it's coming, but it's just like why though? Like why now? I've been waiting for this for years, But what do y'all think?
Listen, man. This might just be me, but from what I'm seeing, it's almost like it's become a trait. Do you know how many guys that I know that are like, man, I'm looking for a girl that I could just chill and watch anime with? Like, that's a thing now. So, like, it's like a quality. Literally, now it is equality to have.
Where
this
y'all
man
at?
Josh speaking from first person, bro. He said, "Yeah, these dudes, right?"
Whoa. But like I definitely think that it's just becoming something that has now become normalized. And like Jackson has said earlier, now it's starting to become to the fact that like, oh, you don't watch anime? Like that's kind of weird. Because like in like the past 5 years, it has just really taken off. And yes, most of the people that have like now like joined this wave, they're just watching the iconic, the top mainstream. Like you got like your Naruto, your Bleach, your DBZ. But
Which
that's
there's nothing wrong
definitely a
with, by the way.
start. No, that's yeah, I agree. And like people are like you said earlier, are realizing that they watched it in their childhood. Like there's no way someone could tell me they've never seen DBZ before. Like not even a clip. Like that's hard to believe because it's like literally gained so much status in our society, and now it's becoming relevant everywhere.
And so when it comes to anime, I think part of the reason it's gotten so popular, and Josh, this is only evident because you watch it. I haven't watched the show, so I'm speaking completely on experience having seen you watch it. But a great example, in my opinion, is One Piece. Not because it's bad in any way, but if you took a One Piece episode artistically and smashed it up against the Demon Slayer first series, night and day. And voice acting goes into that, and like genuine, like the way that they produce the show, how it's articulated. I feel like they've just refined the genre, and that's not to hate on anything that's older by any means. I mean, they're classics, right? There's nothing wrong with the Godfather movie, but now, I mean, how old is that movie? It's like things like that are starting to get older. It doesn't mean that they're worse in quality. It means that when you look at getting new people involved into a genre or into a specific thing, the better, and I purely mean better from like a money in, money out, like visual quality that it is, the more likely people are to get into it. I mean, all you have to do is show someone that scene, spoiler alert if you haven't watched Demon Slayer, of Tanjiro with the fire blade. And even if you have no context for the show, you can at least say that is artistically awesome. Like that is amazing. That is really cool. And that might be enough to get you into it. That's my take on it.
Yeah, all I had to add too, because the quality was a kind of a good point that I was thinking about too. But I feel like also less than it just being trendy is that the way that people have access to anime is vastly different now than kind of early 2000s when it was first kind of getting popular. I guess you'll say because before I think it was this really good video I watched on YouTube, and it was basically saying before kind of the only way you could get anime is you found an old VHS tape at the store somewhere. Like you had a really random link to this really sketchy website somewhere on your. If you even had access to a computer that ran that quick enough to be able to watch, the new shows. But nowadays, you just type in, Crunchyroll, of course, because we watch our stuff legally in GTA, and you just see every episode every single week. You know what I'm saying? So even with like Twitter, I know like a lot, or even TikTok, there can be a clip of a voice clip from a top anime going viral on TikTok, and everybody reuse the sound, do everything, and not even know where it's from. And as soon as they click the sound, it's like, oh, that's kind of cool, and they start watching the show. There's a lot more ways for kind of it to get visible compared to when anime first started getting popular with a lot of the older shows that are just as good as some of the shows coming out now. But with kind of the introduction of technology and a lot of these newer websites, it's a lot more accessible because, you know, you open Netflix and you have their original anime everywhere. You go to Hulu and they have all their brand new simulcast coming out every single week with the brand new episode as soon as they come out. So I feel like that also has helped kind of push that trend of making anime popular. You know, along with some of
Yeah.
the artists who grew up on it, because you know I know Josh loves to talk about Meg and her you know her cosplays and such. So you know, I mean,
No, but just real quick to add on, like definitely a point that I wanted to hit on as well was the fact that you're seeing it on like Netflix and Hulu. Like if you think about the growth, at first they used to just have a few shows. Now they literally have a whole category just labeled anime. And then once you go into that category, they even break it into the subgenres. So it's showing you how much like these high-end companies are starting to see the value of anime. They're trying to make it easier accessible because like how often are you just like, man, I need something new to watch, so you just start scrolling and I don't know where on your For You, based off of the shows you watch, you're going to see an anime pop up. Like that's not rare at all. So it's just like Nate was saying, it's starting to become so like easy to access, and now they're just like almost like putting it in your face and like you can't really ignore it. Like you can choose to ignore it, but at least like now it's there and like forcing you to like acknowledge it.
I don't know.
That
I
is
think
my
people just
perspective.
stopped caring. To be honest, the people who were fans of it really just stopped caring about, because like y'all were saying earlier, I have, back in the day when people found out, they would bake you for that shit. They'd be like, "Boy, I know you not what," you know what I'm saying? So like, it was like, but and back then it was like, you didn't necessarily hide it, but you only talk to certain people about it,
Yeah, you didn't
and
wear no
you would
shirt.
never just bring it up.
exactly.
But like, I feel like as time went on, that group of people who would always just like never talk about it actually just stopped caring. And I think that it became such a conversational topic that it kind of just spread like wildfire. Like, I personally found myself, I'm not a sports fan in any way, shape, form, or fashion, but I always make sure to watch certain NBA games, to watch certain tournaments, to watch just so I can know what the conversation is about, if that makes sense. And I'm
Yeah,
guilty of that. And I feel like it's the same for certain animes, that it's being talked about so much that some people are like, man, what is this thing that everybody's talking about? And not even for the fact of having interest, personal interest in it, but for the fact of being able to just communicate with other people who talk about it openly. They just kind of just want to know what's going on. And like, like y'all were saying, Netflix, Hulu, Crunchyroll, and especially now since we have to stay inside more, it's like, well, what are people going to do? They're going to watch Netflix. They're going to watch Hulu. They're going to watch Crunchyroll. And at some point, you can keep watching and watching and watching, but at some point, you're going to see that anime category and be like, I wonder what this is. Because you're always going to open Netflix, you're going to scroll through the genres. What do I feel like watching? And you're going to see anime. And if you watch anime, it's probably the first thing you open. But if you don't, then it's like at some point you're going to be like, I wonder what this is. And you're going to, you're going to watch a show or two, and even if it doesn't hook you, you've been exposed to it. Now you know it exists. Now it's in the, hey, I've seen an episode of this. I've seen an episode of that. And then, maybe one day you'll get bored again. And now you've seen another episode, now another, now another. You're like, hey, I kind of like this. And next thing you know, you've seen a whole series. And then, like, and just because of, the trending culture we have nowadays where people will, even if it's something life threatening, dangerous, and they know it could kill them, just for the sake of the trend, they will do it. And since anime has became such, said trend, now people are watching it, whether they have personal interest in it or not, just because they saw it on a Twitter post, just
Agreed.
because they saw it on a TikTok, just because, they heard the sound used in a TikTok that blew up. Like I know y'all remember, like one of the first sounds that like I heard everywhere was from Hokuto no Ken. And if you don't know what that is, it's Fist of the North Star. It's a classic. You should watch it. The animation on it, it's old, so don't expect too much.
Beware.
still,
But
yes.
Beware.
other than that, it's pretty good.
Yes.
And so there's a line from the show when I think it's it's like one of the first few episodes, like straight off. And he bodies this guy. And like before he bodies him, he goes, I'm gonna try my best to impersonate this. He goes, nope, can't do it. But the end of it, I don't remember what he said word for word. But at the end of it, he was like, Nani? And then he blew up. Like literally, he just exploded.
Yeah.
Like his head got big and it blew up. And then you would see it everywhere on social media. People would be making videos and then they'd sub in that clip and it'd be like, Nani? And then people were just walking around saying, I even experienced people who I know for sure did not even watch anime would say it in a conversation. Like when someone would say something stupid, they'd be like, Nani? And I'd be like, hold up, what did you just say? I'd be like, what? You? Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? And then it just kind of, I think, really trend culture to sum it all up.
I agree with you, and I'm about to bring a major grievance for anybody, and this is for all the listeners. I will be completely honest. I think TikTok is a funny app. I also think TikTok has supported some of the most ridiculous. Like sometimes y'all got to chill out when it comes to anime. Like y'all really got to stop. Like it's really cool. It's a phenomenal genre. Very easy to get plugged into. But man, if I have to sit down and hear some person, I don't care who it is, try to grumble like the word baka into their microphone to sound sexy one more time, I'm going to slap somebody. Shut up. Stop. I'm not doing it. No, because that's what I'm saying. Like this is it's not a problem. You're allowed to enjoy. It's a language. It's a language. I get it. Like whatever. But like it just frustrates me because that in and of itself is so cringe that everyone who contributes to that is, and I mean this not in the whatever, you can do whatever you want to do on your own, but in the sense of setting your phone up in front of a ring light, letting 8 seconds of a sound go by and leaning in really close so that you can grumble that into your phone microphone. If you do that and you post that unironically, you make us look bad. People see that video and look at me and go, "This your boy?" And I'm like, "No, he's not." Like,
that is not
like,
my boy.
he doesn't even know he don't even know where that scene is from. Like a lot of them would use the Killua one from Hunter x Hunter where he's getting mad at Gon. I'd be like, "Stop! I'm like, quit it, cut it out. Just don't ever do that again." Because you're absolutely right, Zach. Some people do it for the trend, and some people, I'm not throwing names, saw people getting all hot and bothered by anime characters and went, I'm kind of hot, and they try to recreate the like that. It's not. I have nothing against cosplayers. I think cosplay is awesome. It's cool. If you're gonna cosplay, that's one thing. I don't care how much effort you put into your cosplay costume. Do what you want. There's a difference, and you will never convince me otherwise. There's a difference between being dedicated to a show, caring about its narrative and its characters, and devoting your time to replicating one of the character designs in your own life. That's cool. And doing that cringe nonsense, because there is a very clear barrier, and I will not accept the left hand side. It's miserable. Cannot stand it.
What I will say though, sorry to interrupt, but
No, you good. You
I
good. I was
do-
about to start ranting.
I do think like from certain people I've talked to, like it definitely has developed a appreciation for like Japanese culture. Like literally, I think that a lot of people that have started watching anime recently have like gone out of their way to like learn more about the culture. Like literally, some of the people this call we were talking about, hey, let's have a trip where we go to Japan, just because Japan seems pretty cool. Like in all the animes, they show you like the scenery, like they show you like Kyoto, and you're like, yo, that place look lit as hell, bro. Like you see all these cool scenes, you see the food, you see the environment, and like it's like legit like that in like some of these areas. So I also think a plus for people watching anime is like them getting to experience a different culture, because usually we're just attracted to things that we're not used to. And like anime, like the cartoons that we have here for the most part are so different than anime. And that's why we like don't call anime a cartoon. It is a Japanese cartoon, but we're like, no, it's anime, because like we declare it with something different. So I also think that it gives off like a different vibe, and people like you want to like be that person that can say that, oh, like I'm out there, I'm not like limited to one thing, that sort of thing. So I think that people also lean towards anime on that aspect.
Yeah, that is for sure. And even with all the bakas out there, low key though, that kind of gets me a little hype. I'm not even finna lie. As like I don't want to say an old net. Wait, before you say that, just wait, wait. But as like somebody who's been watching anime for a minute, just seeing it being kind of standard norm for people to just appreciate it like that, no matter how they do it, because they're gonna be cringy people no matter what. You got cringy people who like fucking Marvel comics and shit, bro. Like there's gonna be cringy people in these gates no matter what. But even if they're getting 100,000 likes on that post, that means that's the 100,000 likes of somebody who might watch a different show that I like. Cause I know if I remember there were two specific times I remember that when I was really like, damn, this anime shit is like really getting normal now. And it was the first one was when in My Hero, it was when they had the Deku Todoroki fight the first time, and it was like number 5 trending on Twitter for like 2 days straight. And I was just scrolling through all these threads, just all these random people who I knew. Who I was like, I know damn well y'all baked me in high school for watching this shit. What are you doing here talking about this show right now? And then I was just like, but it kind of made me excited because it was like they finally understand, well, like that actually hits different. It kind of breaks the layer of what they thought was not normal and kind of cringy. Even though a lot of weird people like anime. I'm not even gonna lie. A lot of these shows are addressed specifically to weird ass people, but for the good shows and the good stuff, it's actually really solid. And then the other one you kind of mentioned a little earlier is when the Demon Slayer, I think it's like episode 18, when that fight came out, it was literally number 1 trending on Twitter. Yeah, 19. It was the first anime to ever go number 1 trending on Twitter, if I remember right.
Yeah,
and that
because it's gorgeous. It's art.
That's not. It's crazy, and that's sure.
Hey, give me 20 seconds.
Animation. It had the story to go along with it. It had the voice acting, the music directing, and everything. And just seeing so many people enjoy that type of content, even if they do, that gas. Even if they do, might take their little own twist on it. There's also, for every, baka, there's a whole, podcast talking about the tops. I'm not gonna say with
you give me PTSD,
the deep voice, but
All right. Nah. Nate.
Why does Josh do that a little
up.
too good,
Hold
bro?
up.
You need to chill
Before
out.
I say what I say,
I'm gonna take over for just 10 seconds. Zay,
before I
you
say
better
what
not
I
call
say,
me
I just have a
sus
question.
ever again. That was the most sus thing I've heard in a minute.
I just have a
What?
question, bro.
What do you mean, bro? Hey, all I'm
I
saying
just have
is,
a
bro.
question, bro.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Are you saying that the cringe shit gets you hype?
No, I'm just saying the cringe shit involved to more people enjoying
No. You don't have to
anime is
explain
what
that.
gets
Look,
me
No.
hyped.
This is a yes or no,
like,
Nate.
From
This is a
a
yes or no.
business perspective, I completely
No,
understand
not
what you're
that's.
saying.
I'm saying
it's a good thing that there is those cringe
Yeah.
videos, because like when you see the response to them, like it's like even though they're weird, 100,000 people looked at this though. Like
Exactly.
I get that. What I'm asking you,
Oh,
because
me?
you said
Oh,
you was
never.
like you was
Oh,
like
you said it
no,
got you hyped. No.
started
Rewind the
off-
clip.
Listen.
You started
Play the
off
clip.
saying, you said when I see that, when I see that cringe shit, that baka shit, you said it's slick gets me hype. That's what you
But
said,
see, the
bruh.
important
And
part of
before I
that,
take
the
that
important
and
part
run
is
with
the
it,
slick.
bruh.
Because the slick means it's not due to just the post, but due to the exposure that the post gives to the show.
So
I feel like
The slick
yes.
means that you're trying to hide it.
So is it just the exposure
Hell
on the
no.
cringe shit that gets you hyped, or is it the actual post that gets you
No,
hyped?
it's the exposure and the influence that
Alright,
that cringe shit
yeah,
can
I don't
have
got- I don't
on
got
all
nothing
these
to say,
people
bro.
watching
I
the
don't
show.
got nothing to say.
No.
Okay, I
No,
got.
You think I'm
that's
sitting
true.
there in the corner, bro?
No.
Huh?
That's straight, Nate. But you got to understand the way that you said it. It came out like, man.
Yeah,
when
bro,
I
I'm
see
not gonna
those,
lie,
when
I
I
was
see
gonna
those
say-
perm dudes set their ring stand up and
Oh,
their
hell
phone,
no.
and they lean in real close and whisper in the mic, bro. That gets me hyped.
I had-
Hey, but here's the
I
thing:
was
if
gonna
that
say,
gets more
Nate,
people
what
to
do you
watch
be looking
anime
at?
and enjoy good shows, go ahead, bro. That's what I'm
No,
saying.
that's true.
Because people are gonna
Another
interpret it their
fair,
own
but-
way.
No, another example is, so I'm pretty sure everyone here has seen JoJo, right? And as much as we love that show, we make the hell out of that
Yeah.
show.
Now that shit is
Man,
different.
they got some of the funniest poses of all time. And I would just be scrolling through TikTok, and like literally they made it a challenge, hitting like the Dio pose challenge, because this dude like
One
fucking
where you, like,
breaks
lean
his
all the way
back
down?
when he stands back, and I see hella people do it because it's funny and it's entertaining. But I know good and well that leads to people
Bro,
watching
yeah.
JoJo Bizarre Adventures,
can't
and that
for-
series is
bro.
fire. Like, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, bro, you can't you talk about JoJo, bro. You can't forget to mention the endings, bro.
Yeah.
Especially every time I close. You know
But
what I'm
see,
saying?
that's
yeah.
what I'm talking about when I say that though, because it's like I feel like even though it might be cringe and it might be weird, at a point to like us saying that we can't accept that means that we're also gatekeeping in the same way that people used to say anime was weird to begin with. You feel what I'm saying?
There's
But
a
that
line.
shit is weird, bro.
There is
I'm
a
not saying
line,
anime's
Nate.
weird.
There
but
is
that
a-
shit
I
But
is
part of
weird.
anime is weird though.
No,
And that's what I was
Nate,
saying.
I'm
Like, you
gonna
can't-
reach
you
into
can't
this
tell
experience.
people that it doesn't exist, bro.
No, yeah, you
just
have to
can't.
be straight up. You can't say
No, that's what I
this
was
isn't
saying.
part of
No,
anime.
yeah,
You
no,
gotta
yeah,
accept all
it's
of it
there.
together,
Like,
bro.
No,
I can't even.
you know
I
what's
can't even lie. Like, I'm not a part of it, but yeah.
Oh no,
it's
yeah,
there.
yeah, of course not.
Like, it's
But
there.
you know what's so crazy to me? Why are people acting like weirdos don't exist in everything, bro? When it
That's
comes
what
to
I'm
anime,
saying,
they
bro.
try to specialize it.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
No, Josh. In
Alright.
short, you're right, but there's okay. Josh, you're correct. Weirdos exist in everything,
Mhm.
and this is a heavy. However, like I said earlier, there's this really a really good video essay that I watched at work, or while I was working rather, that kind of explains the genesis of a lot of the genre that anime is attributed to. And I think the issue that differentiates and delineates a lot of what you're describing as weirdness is that what I would describe as weirdness in the anime community is more often just simply at a higher rate, slightly normalized in comparison to other fandoms, largely because they are either older, or B, more heavily policed, or C, have just generally a wider group of fans. Because what you're saying is right. Anime started very thin and exploded outwards, right? It started with a niche group of people who found it and started liking it, started growing gradually, and then it just exploded. So you're right. There are weirdos in a lot of genres. The issue is, and like none of us can refute this, there are some extraordinarily strange animes. And the thing is that they are out of pocket. Just completely ridiculous.
Very true.
And there are very few genres
Yeah.
that can replicate that level of weirdness
Yeah.
in a degree that's commonly acceptable. You can't go on cable TV and find a show like some of these animes. You'd be like that get canceled back in the day. There's no way.
Oh.
And so when it comes to fandoms in anime, there's an odd acceptance of the strange, right? And that's not a bad thing. It's perfectly fine. It's when, and like I said, there is a line. It's not that this is wrong, it's that you got to understand it's weird. I have explained this before on the podcast. I'll explain it again briefly. The first My Hero Academia thing I ever saw, bro, was the stupid, it took the premise of the show and bent it over its knee and just demolished it. There was no point in the show anymore because it was a video of two of the major characters having sexual relations when they absolutely did not need to and was completely extraneous to the story. And the reason why I know it was abstract is because they bro, it was on TikTok. I can't control that, but they pulled it they pulled that out of at the time of the release. Very limited interactions between these characters. So what I'm going to say is you can enjoy anything you like with your own personal license. You can do whatever you want to do. You can enjoy your life however you feel like enjoying it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. But understand that expressing yourself in a public way invites public criticism. And when you're dealing with something as, I guess, genre encompassing as anime, people are going to see what you do, are going to attribute it to those stigmas that very much still exist to a large portion of the population. And you have become the problem. Like in one post, you are the issue with anime in someone's mind. And the thing is, I watch anime and I saw that and was like, what is this nonsense? And that's what I mean. There is a line, not in what's acceptable, because people are allowed to do what they want to do, but there is certainly a line when it comes to the commonality of weirdness. There's a point that you can draw and say, that's weird. I'm not with that.
Yeah, I feel like I am definitely on anime talk, anime Twitter, all that stuff, and that is the depths, my friend. I ain't never seen some shit like that. But
you ain't been digging.
I feel like when I said like
you on the surface,
what Josh was talking about earlier, like seeing some random chick cosplaying saying Baka versus like fucking Endeavor trying to blow some back out is a very different conversation.
Correct. No, that's why I said there's a line. Like,
but I definitely do like. I feel like it's a big difference in like the culture they have in Japan, because like for every good show, you gotta realize there's shows like I think that we were talking about the other day. There's like literally there's shows to encourage men in Japan to have children, and there's like literally a show I think it's called Gate. There's literally just incorporating like the Japanese army as being like the best thing in the fucking world just because that's their media and they know people's gonna watch it. So I feel like a lot of those weirder shows fall into kind of that niche group where they kind of have like a different motive for a lot of the stuff, and people interpret them just as weird as the shows are said to be. So I definitely agree with what you say on that one.
Yeah. Hey, watch the first episode of Soul Eater, and you see your first antagonist, and you're like, what? You're like, could you just relax, bro? I know the show's good, but no. I know the show's good, but think back just for a minute. Pull yourself out of the person who's seen anime before and understands the tropes, and watch that first episode in your head, and think about the very first character that they introduce you that these people are going to fight, and you sit there and you go, what?
And that's the
whole thing
from the show's perspective, right? So like a normal ass dude like me, I'm not finna buy a figurine that costs $90 to support a show, but the neckbeard on Reddit who loves that is finna buy 20. So and that's
once again, I'm speaking to that boundary, because we have all watched enough anime to know that it is what it is. It's a part of the genre. Sometimes you just got to push through it, because often the story can still be very good, and that as long as it doesn't personally offend you or like upset you, it doesn't really detract. Just power through it. Like, you'll be fine. The thing is what I'm speaking to is the overall view. When people say things like what you were talking about, like there certainly is a line between someone cosplaying and saying Bako, it's whatever. Like, that's not even that bad. But to not acknowledge that there are sometimes some moments where you just need to crease your ass and go, what are y'all doing? Like, and that is an example that I would bring to light, because my roommate tried to show me that show when I was very green, and this was back when we were in high school. I was very green to the genre, and he goes, you should watch Soul Eater. And I sat down with him, and he turned that episode on, and the whole time I was sitting there looking at him like this. I was like, there's no way that you're what? I'm like because it just kept getting worse, because we all know what that scene looks like. For those of the listeners who don't, it's not very PG. And then she adds cat ears on the whole thing. You're looking at him like,
the witch.
Like, what are you trying to show me, bro? I know she's a witch, and you and I know she's a witch, but I did not know she was a witch when she had the cat ears, bro. I was like, I was just looking at this man like, this is what you've been hyping up. This is just porn. And he was like, no, it's not, brothers. The fighting's great. The story's good. Just like, give it 20 minutes. I'm like, I'm not gonna give it 20 minutes. What do you mean? Like, and so that's what I was meaning to contribute to, not insult the larger anime viewing audience as a whole.
That's very true.
I think it's because a lot of people aren't private no more. They're public about it. So it's like
they just freaks out the wild, bro.
So look, think about it. It's like if we go out in public, nobody can just look at us and be like, "Oh yeah, he watches anime. Like it's just not. It's not like that. But with how everything is no longer private, it's like people will get on social media and see a weird post and then associate that person with said post. So if the content is some weird anime shit, they're going to look at that post and see weird anime shit. Then they're going to look at person and think,
Weird
wow,
anime dude.
you are fucking weird. And then that association with anime is now going to be fucking weirdos watch that.
But
You know,
it's also vice versa. You know how
yeah,
many times
it is
people
vice
have come
versa,
up to us personally and been
but
like, y'all pretty cool. I didn't know y'all watch anime, and realize that just normal ass dudes also watch anime. You see what I'm saying? It goes both
Yeah.
ways. I definitely
For
see your
sure.
point, Zay.
no, I look. I was just strictly speaking on the weird side. I wasn't
Yeah.
saying obviously it was vice versa. I was just saying that like
Mhm.
for the people who happen to run into the weirdos first, it's kind of like a game over because like Jackson said, they'll run into some extremely ridiculous shit. Like if it was reasonably weird,
Yeah, I'd be like,
then you could just
whatever.
be like,
whatever.
what the fuck, and you just scroll
Yeah.
past it. But like it'll be on some ridiculous wow, and it's like wow, someone really took their time to
In the
make this
lab.
content
Yeah.
and they really just put this out there like that.
This is
And then it's
custom
like their
hand-drawn
first
animation.
encounter with the weird is so extreme that it overloads.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah. And my whole point was
I
just
will.
that it's more common, and not this
And
isn't
yeah,
derogatory,
and
but it's
that's
more
just
common in the
saying
anime community
that's
than
just
most.
saying for the people who encounter the weird first
Mhm.
before they encounter, normal
Quality.
people or the normal content.
Yeah, the
That's
good
just
stuff.
speaking from that perspective.
No, I think something funny is everyone in here has seen, well, except damn it, except Zay, we've seen the Demon Slayer movie, right? And like I had sent this clip that it was this dude on TikTok that was like, listen, if you're going to watch Demon Slayer this weekend, I'm gonna need you to beware of the weirdos. I'm talking about the dudes that look like they haven't showered in 2 months. They're crawling out their room to watch this movie. Come with a piece of gum, come with some deodorant, stay away from dudes wearing their no skate head because like definitely some of these people spend too
Why
much
would somebody
time
see somebody do that
devoted
stuff?
to this stuff and
And
forget life. They
I
just
was gonna
they
say,
just forget life. But it goes to show how at the end of the day we were still there. And that community that was there is a lot. Like the movie theater
yeah,
we went to here in
It was
this small
full.
town was packed.
Hey, and them
It
niggas
was
were there too,
packed.
bro.
Yeah, it's definitely a mixed it's a mixed community, and it's like odds, bro. It's like who will they encounter first? It's like a game. It's like which NPC are you gonna run into first? You know what I'm saying? Like you can run into the guy that gives you the key to the treasure chest, and then you start off OP, or you can run into the guy that gives you an impossible quest, and you just keep dying over and over and over again. It's like which one are you gonna get? Are you gonna get the normal guy, or are you gonna get the
Well, real
the
quick,
what do y'all what was the husbando? You gonna get the
Husbando.
husbando
nah.
wife?
the
I'm not
Are you
looking
gonna
that
run
up.
into them
Oh
first?
hell no.
You gonna run
The
into them first,
husbando.
or are you gonna run into the
Oh
normal
shit!
people first? It's like which one
No,
are you gonna get?
real
Go ahead,
quick.
Nico.
I was just gonna say for all you viewers who don't watch anime, you got 5 normal dudes right here.
More or less.
Yeah,
DM.
so hey, you just got a shortcut.
If y'all
We
need
got you.
suggestions, bro.
So like yeah, so like I was saying, so with us 5 guys, you know what I'm saying, being reliable with the anime sense, I was gonna ask. So I wanted to see if we each had 3 animes that we could recommend you all and why. So for example, we're gonna start with our favorites, the objective best, which we feel like is the best anime overall, in our opinions, of course, and what a best anime would be for a specific genre. So for me, I would say my favorite personally is Samurai Champloo, and all you guys probably know that. But the reason why I feel that way is because like I feel like it's such a good show because the story correlates, but it's like each episode is its own like moral, or like there's like a lesson to be learned, or like scene in in like every other story like arc in the show, and there's also like comedic elements in the music. It's just I feel like overall as a show, it's just beautiful. I feel like so I feel like if you really need a good show to watch, I think you should check that out for sure. Objective best, I would say Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Um, so it's been what's it been like top? It's been like ranked over a 9 for how long, bro? Like it's for years, right?
Yeah.
For years, and like if that and then like, when it comes to ranking anime, like it real quick, it's kind of complicated. Like
Very complicated.
so a 7 in the anime community is considered like average. And then so as you go up to like the 8s and the 9s, it's kind of hard to get those ranks up. But as the higher you go up, I would say 9 is probably almost like flawless. I would say the higher you up in the 9s, you know what I'm saying? And I would say, with this being ranked over a 9 for over, for plenty of years, that it kind of speaks for itself, And I don't want to speak too much on it, because I feel like if I do, I don't want to spoil it. But I feel like that's one of those animes you should definitely check out if you're starting out.
For sure.
And then I would say specific genre. So me personally, I like watching like horror thrillers, like stuff that's gonna get me on the edge of my seat, make me feel sad, you know what I'm saying? Like make me because I get, get me attached to the characters and you know what I'm saying, make me feel like something's, I don't know. But I would say check if you like thrillers, check out Monster.
I knew you. I knew it. I knew either you or Josh was gonna say it.
Yeah, and I feel like Monster. I'm starting to see a lot more people talk about it, as of late. But it's one of those shows that like you don't really hear of, but once you watch it, you're gonna want to tell everyone you know about it. Like, think about like Law and Order and all these thriller crime shows and shit, and like it just puts those to shame. Like if you like thriller murder mysteries, you gotta check that out. But that's my piece. Whoever wants to go next, y'all got it.
That boy Nico came with some heat. I respect the list.
Got to, man. I got to.
All right, so if I start off with my favorite, so my personal favorite, it's an anime called Your Lie in April. This anime, when I watched it, literally inspired me to play the piano. I hadn't seen a story that was so beautiful, like from a music aspect. It's about a character that's like a pianist and a girl that plays a violin, and you see like the relationship that they have and how like it grows, and you become really connected with the characters. And I just thought it was beautiful. I think I watched it like when I was in high school, and ever since then, when someone asks me like, "What's your favorite?" I'm like, that one right there, because that one right there was like the first anime that I watched that like hit different. Like I enjoyed anime, but that was the first one that I was like, damn, like that was a good story. That was the first time that had happened to me. So that's like my favorite right there, personally. And then secondly, when we get to like subjectively like the best, so I'm gonna throw in an anime, and then I'm also gonna throw in a movie. And I think I put this movie even higher than the anime, but that's also my opinion. So I'm going with Nico as well. I think that Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is top tier. I think that anime encompasses everything an anime should encompass. Like it hits all the aspects. So like you don't watch it for just one reason right there. Like a lot of these animes are very focused in one genre, but that hits a lot of things in one, and it's just a classic on top of that. So that's also my like top one. But I think something that I enjoy even more than that is A Silent Voice. That movie is probably the closest like anything like anime wise that like I was like trying to hold in tears. Like I didn't want to cry. But like that's how touching. Yeah, that
man,
movie. Now I be trying to be, bold faced, so I'm like, no tears for me.
Oh,
But
ridiculous.
and that movie right there actually hit different. Like the story was just so well put together that I was speechless. Like that, I was like, that was good. Like I was like, that's what a movie should be. Forget anime. I'm like, that's what a movie should look like. And then when I go into genres, so I feel like I've seen a lot of genres, and I think that like definitely my taste has started to change since I've started to watch more and more anime. So I think that Like it used to be, like straight shonen, like the classics. And now I think that my favorite genre is slice of life because it's like the most realistic. I think that those are like your everyday animes that you can actually build a true connection because you can envision yourself in the anime if that makes sense. It's just like real, like whether it's like people that are in like high school or college or whether they're working full-time jobs or anything of that nature. It's something that's very realistic and you build like a personal connection to these characters. And I think that something that I like I know Nate might agree with me on this. Hopefully, it's not on his list, but I would put Violet Evergarden. That's probably my top 5 right there, like of all time as well. That anime right
So
there
just
encompasses, as well, like I said, for Silent Voice, everything an anime should have because it has the fighting scenes, it has like the emotional attachment to like the characters. Like I guess a quick little backstory. It's about a girl that like fought in a war, and like her whole life, all she knew was battle. And she comes back from that war like pretty much lost. She picks up a job to pretty much help her decipher her way through life, and it's just such a beautiful
she
story.
just want to learn how to love, man.
I'm telling you, man, she just wanted to learn how to love. But that story right there, that also like it almost like had me tears right there. So that would definitely be my suggestion from a genre and an anime to fit that genre.
So for my list of these perfectly curated anime, top tier. If you need a recommendation, go ahead watch any one of the 3/4 right now, and they will change your life. I'll say them right now. But my all-time favorite right now, which is actually kind of funny because it changed a little bit, is Code
Girl Lagan.
Geass. No, it's Code Geass. This is my favorite anime right of all time.
Ooh.
So it took me a
Low-key
minute
low
to watch this show.
controversial.
It took me a minute to watch it because it's a little bit older. It looks a little bit different, but once you watch it, Code Geass is probably the best story I've ever seen in an anime in my entire life. It's basically goes into basically the politics of like a real life war. The dude stuck between his people and kind of the people who are controlling everything and trying to figure out the balance between both of them, and how it kind of has the fantasy aspect with a lot of the powers that he gets to control, and it's a lot of the strategy because that man Lelouch uses that Death Note type of thinking to outsmart basically whole wars
Brain.
and solving like everything. So if you really want a good story, and it also has a lot of like emotion, it has a lot of romance in it as well. And it's really a big thriller anime too, so I really keyed on a lot because I go more for like a lot of a story when I look for a good anime. So it took a little bit, but Code Geass took that #1 spot for me. I think after I watched it the first time, I've probably seen it probably like 5 times with all the OVAs through. And the OVAs too, if you want some extra after you finish the show, are also gas. Like every single movie that Code Geass has came out with has been gas. So that's probably my all-time favorite. But kind of like Josh said, I'm also low key a sad ass nigga, so I love me some slice of life ass anime. But my favorite probably that's kind of that more emotional. It's got to be Anohana. I got to give it that #1 slice of life spot because that show just hits different. It's basically following this group of friends as they kind of reconnect after the loss of one of their friends, and the story that they tell between each of those friends, you just become to love every single one of those characters and just understand everything they're going through so easily. And it's like even the characters who you really think aren't going through as much, once they break down their kind of psyches that they're going through and kind of how they relate to their friend who died, it's just insane to see the things that they did in that anime. So that's probably my favorite kind of more emotional, kind of slice of life type of anime for sure, kind of out of everything I've watched. But for my third pick, it's just a normal anime. I gotta give it to the first anime that I ever saw. This is my nostalgia pick, my goated anime of retro anime of all time. It's that Toppen Tekken Gurren Lagann. You feel what I'm saying? It has the greatest action you'll ever see. Some of the most inspirational. Like if I'm ever having a bad week, I got a heavy ass week coming up, I just watch one episode of Gurren Lagann. I'm straight for the rest of the week because it's so inspirational. It can push you to do damn near anything in life. That spiral drill that's gonna pierce the heavens, bro. You feel what I'm saying?
The heavens, bro.
That's what I'm saying, bro. So that's my nostalgia
heavens,
pick.
bro.
That's actually the first anime I ever watched. It's got like a low key, a special spot in my heart. You feel what I'm saying?
You started with a good one, bro.
That's what I'm saying, bro. It was a very strong start. And the low key, I'm just gonna throw this in there as my movie pick because Josh cheating through a movie in, so I'm gonna throw a movie in. It's Perfect Blue. Perfect Blue is the best
I
There it is.
knew
thriller
it.
I
piece
thought
of
you were
I
gonna say
anime
knew
Perfect
it.
Blue,
ever.
Josh. I thought you were
I
gonna say that one.
It's so
Now
good.
perfect. Okay,
It is the
perfect.
best
The only
anime
reason
movie I've ever
why
seen.
I didn't say Perfect Blue is because, bro, we were thinking too hard, bro. Yeah. Okay. Like little side story. After we watched Perfect Blue, me, Nate, and Nico, I'm talking about we stayed up 3+
Bro,
hours just coming up with like theories
watching
on
straight
how to
conspiracy
comprehend
videos.
the movie. I shouldn't be having to do that. That's the
Bro.
only reason
Bro,
why I
that
didn't put
shit.
it there.
But
But
that's
that's
the
also
only
my.
show that I can think of that's a thriller. Maybe Psychopaths is close, but not even close. But Perfect Blue is the only show I can think of that made me have just that much thought afterwards about what possibly could have happened. The way that they like the sound direction in that show is crazy. The story is crazy. The perspectives that they use are just insane. Because we each
Yes.
had a different version of what we thought happened, and all of them were valid, and all of them could have been true in the same
Yep.
like hour and a half movie. So that's if you just want a quick one off, I'd say Perfect Blue is a great way to get interested in anime. But those are my
Oh, yeah.
top picks.
I like those. Those were some good picks, bro.
Mhm.
I honestly wasn't expecting you to say Code Geass though.
Bro, it's grown on me, honestly. Like I've watched it probably like 5 or 6 times all the way through, and it's so good to me, bro.
No, that one definitely hit that. You're taking me back, bro. You gotta chill out. You gotta chill
So I
out.
mean, I
That one
guess.
hit.
So which one of y'all going next? Is it Jackson
It's
or
Zay.
Zay?
It's Zay. Take it off.
Zay, you got it, bro.
Okay,
Take it
so
home.
Let's
for
hear it.
me, I'm not really into those genres. So like my list is probably not gonna be anywhere close to y'all's. So
Which is
don't
fine.
bake
Which
me.
is perfectly
I'm not
No,
fine.
saying
go
those
ahead,
shows
brother.
aren't good. It's just me personally, that's not my genre. And I talk about this all the time. Like it's not that those shows aren't good. I just don't watch them because it's not within my genre. Um, so my personal favorite would have to be Hajime no Ippo.
That's a
Okay.
good
That's
one,
gas
bro.
though.
That's a really good
That's
one.
my personal favorite. I just love that show, and like I've rewatched it countless times.
So
Countless. Like it's really good to me. Like the storyline is pretty basic, but I feel like you don't watch Hajime no Ippo for the story. You watch it strictly for the hands because when I tell you them, bro, some of those people literally their whole purpose in the show is to get rocked. That's literally that's what they do. They come in, they present them with this big bad, persona, and then they get their ass dropped off just as quick as they were introduced. And I feel like for its time, the animation top tier for its time. It was
Very true.
the fight scenes, like you can feel the emotion like
Mhm.
of the fights. They did a really good job at that. And and I'm not even gonna do an objective best. Um I'm not gonna do an objective best just simply because I don't like to, obviously there are a difference in, shows. Some shows are bad, some shows are good. But since with this conversation has had nothing but good shows talked about, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna do that. So that's my personal favorite. My next two personal recommendations. Number two would be Berserk. Berserk is a very underrated show.
indeed.
It is not known by a lot of people. Um, it kind of just went under the radar, and I'm not even sure how. I'm I'm genuinely confused. I don't know how. I'm not gonna not gonna spoil the plot or anything, but it's one of those shows that's if you like shows that are unpredictable, um, it's really kind of just spontaneous. It could be anybody. Anyone could be getting off. Even the person you thought had a major impact to the story could get off. There, nobody's safe. Um, it has a good underlying plot. Like there's also subplots to keep it afloat while the main story is going on. And it also just falls into my personal favorite genre, which would be like the more gory thriller, psychological, you know, type thing. And then if I had to recommend a third anime, it would have to be
so many out there.
Yeah, there's a lot.
It's tough.
There's a lot.
It is tough.
And like, I'm not like these two. I don't have a physical list that I can just pull up. So it's like,
Shout out
My
my
I'm trying
anime
to
list.
think. My third favorite recommendation. My third recommendation to you guys would be Trigun. Trigun is an older show. It's older, but it's like a western, but with futuristic. I don't know how to explain it. It's like futuristic but old style type setting. You got the people walking around with the laws, outlaw laws, like it is back, like it's a western setting where you got outlaws and bounty hunters and sheriffs, and there's towns, the whole nine, cactuses and tumbleweeds and all that. But then at the same time, you got people pulling out like
Laser
alien
beams.
guns, and so it's like a good mixture. It's it's lighthearted, it's a comedy, but there's also a really good plot. And the reason why I recommend it is because you have to pay attention to catch it. Because you can watch Trigun and have completely different experiences depending on what you focus on every time you watch it through. So like you could watch it through one time and just focus on the comedic aspect, and you think, oh man, that was a really funny show. And then it goes down as a comedy. You could watch it for the action and be like, dang, they did, that was some good stuff. And then it's an action show. Or you could watch it and pay attention to the plot and be like, wow, that was fucking awesome. So it's like you could watch it for different reasons. You can change the perspective on it and get different results every time you watch it. The characters are all original, they're funny, they're goofy, the villains are funny. Like it's just a good show all around. And I've realized that my recommendations have kind of been older, but that's just kind of what I like to.
They still gas, bro.
That's just kind of what I like to watch, and I would say like it's pretty good. What I say, Hajime no Ippo, that's an old one, but it's been continued for a very long time.
Classics.
So Hajime no Ippo, that's a good one. Berserk's not too old.
No,
Yeah.
it was
The
like
original
like
adaptation was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a classic
Yeah.
for sure.
What I was gonna say was like all the animes you listed, Isaiah, they're all like, what's the word? Like a lot of new like animes like
are built off. Yeah.
Yes,
A lot of
yes.
They're the
like new
foundation.
animes.
Yeah.
These
They're
were the
all
first ones to
foundational
do
animes.
it.
The OGs.
Like, like these were the first ones to do it. And
Mhm.
another thing about Berserk, speaking of, is that another reason why I like Berserk is because it's pretty real. Like a lot of animes will shy away from making a scene or making a plot better because they don't want to offend anybody. They don't want anybody to be offended, and with this cancel culture, they don't want to be they don't want the show to be canceled, and cancel culture. Oh, look at this. Oh, they did that. They believe in it. You know how people are. You know how people get. They always, somebody always gets offended. But Berserk, it's like they really don't give a shit about that. Like
Yeah,
if
it's from
you're
another time.
lighthearted and you're easily offended, probably shouldn't watch Berserk, because there's going to be some scenes that are good for the plot, but like someone could possibly take it and run away and get offended with it. So if you're lighthearted,
Disclaimer.
sorry, not for you.
Also,
But it is a great show.
do not watch the CGI version. I'm just throwing that
No.
out there before
Oh,
y'all
yeah,
watch
yeah,
the
yeah,
raw
yeah.
version
Berserk
of Berserk.
You know what?
2016?
That
No.
great
Do
point.
not-
Great point.
Go older.
Okay.
Go if you're
So-
gonna watch Berserk, either watch the movies, which is the
They're on
show
Netflix.
compressed into 3 movies, which is the I think what was it called, like the Golden Egg arc.
It's
The-
the Golden Egg Arc, the Battle for Doldry, and
Yeah.
what was the first? I forgot what the first one was called. Band of the Hawk. I forgot.
Yeah, I think it's Banner of the Hawk, the Golden Egg, the Battle of Doldry, and the Golden Egg arc. You can watch the movies. The movies are literally just the older version of the show compressed into movies. So
But you will get
or
more
you can
plot
watch the show.
you watch the
Now
OG
they
show.
have different versions of it, and like he said, do not watch the 2018 and up. Don't watch that because it's CGI. The animation's not good. It's poo. It's poo. Don't do it. Now, if you like CGI, then
No,
Hey.
even if
Not,
you like
but not
CGI,
even
don't
that.
watch
It's
it.
not
They
even
bad.
good
They
CGI.
say
It's just
that's
bad.
everything, bro.
That
No,
is
it's just bad.
goofy.
It's not even if you
sucks.
like it. It's just
I'm
bad.
with you. I'm with you. I think it sucks. But if I had to say, watch the older versions of the show. They're not too old. I think they're like what 2006, 2008, something like that. It's something like that. Yeah. So, but here's another thing about Berserk. You can't just watch the show
You'll have to
because
read the
there's
manga.
too much information. Because the plot is the way it is. There's a lot of information that they had to cut out from the manga, and it's actually it actually kind of adds. I wouldn't say it takes away from anything. However, it does reduce the substance of some characters. And that's all I'm gonna say on that. So if you want full backstories, full information as to why some people are the way they are, and who did it to them, and you know why certain people interact the way they do, read the manga, and then you'll start to you'll see it.
All right, Jackson, bring us home.
Go ahead and bring us
All
home,
right.
bro.
So-
I'm the host, Josh.
So I
Reading my mind.
I will clarify that these 4 have put out some incredible examples, like really some of the pinnacles that anime has to offer. But I will say, and this is like no offense to any of y'all are so seasoned that list isn't super like newbie friendly when it comes to things they've seen or be familiar with. So I'm gonna stick on some real entry level stuff, like stuff that I remember watching back in the day or still watching now that I think is super easy to get into. And it's not that the stuff that y'all listed isn't. It's just that a lot of it is pretty critically true anime, and like it is incredible stuff. But it's not stuff that you see people tweeting about as much or giving anything like that. So I'm gonna give like 3 or 4 recommendations on some pretty like hip ones. I guess I would say like trendy ones, or like I guess just slightly more.
Bro, you gotta chill
Slightly
out.
more modern. Yeah, no. I'm gonna offer the casual perspective. That's the way I'll put it.
Okay.
Y'all suggested it like diamond rank competitive players. Like these are the best. This is the meta, right?
Hell
Y'all literally
no,
said, like,
bro. You
this-
better
this
put
is the
respect
meta.
on my name. That's Grandmaster to you.
Yeah, my fault.
He said
My fault.
Apex Predator.
My fault. But basically,
Mr.
y'all
Grandmaster.
came and said this is the meta. This is the most refined. This is as good as it gets. And for a lot of dudes, you say you're starting the game out. That's a little intimidating. So I'm gonna give them an easy list.
Very true.
So my personal favorite that has reigned with me since I watched it, and it's one of the people like cite a set of like normally like big 3 or any kind of smaller number of like the large animes. And this technically on some people's list counts. It depends who you ask. But my personal favorite is Hunter x Hunter. It has, and I will speak as a guy who loves Hunter x Hunter. It has a reputation for people who like it too much. So enjoy the show, but I think it's a very solid show, good storytelling. Unfortunately, I will add this caveat for anyone who doesn't know about it and might want to watch anime based on this list. If you do start it, it's on hiatus, and that means that it is unfinished currently, and the creator has not given any specifications other than the fact that he desires to finish it. So if you get invested into it, understand that you are quite literally walking off the edge of a cliff. Like there is a limit to the content that you can absorb.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. But in terms of like overall show content, it was I think the second or third anime I ever watched. And it was just a great example of, in my opinion, some pretty good storytelling, some really nice animation, some really nice fight scenes, and overall, it's just a fun show. It's just a good one to watch. Changes tone very drastically, so when you start it, don't make harsh judgments. Just power through it. And there's one arc that lasts like literally like 55 to 60 episodes, and when you get there, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, and you're just gonna have to suffer. But it's
it hits
pretty
though.
user friendly. Yeah, it's good, and I mean it's pretty user friendly. It's one of those animes that honestly, if you watch, I don't recommend you watch the dub of that show because it sounds like a bunch of children screaming. But if you do, you probably wouldn't notice that it was an anime, if that makes sense. It's got extremely like, I would say easily adaptable art style. It doesn't look super animated, other than the hairstyles. So I would say it's pretty entry level, pretty casual. It's a good show though. I really enjoyed it. For my number two, I guess I can't really go an objective favorite here, or what I think is objectively the best. But I can recommend. It's not as entry level, but it was trending quite a bit a little while ago. So there's a good amount of discussion of it online, and it's very short. So it's, or at least the stuff that's out right now is pretty short, so it's easy to digest. And that'd be Vinland Saga. Once again, not crazy like into anime tropes. It's a great example of just anime being adapted to a great story, and it's not going to drown you in tropes or drown you in what you think anime should be. So I would recommend that as if you just want just excellent narrative, easily digestible, quick to get through. Like you're not going to be, because Hunter x Hunter is 145 episodes or however many, and Vinland Saga, how many is Vinland Saga? I can't remember. It's
like
20.
20.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
I think 24.
Vinland
It's
Saga
not
has
bad
the
at all.
potential to be the
I thought,
modern day Berserk.
is it not 26?
Correct. It's
I think it's
somewhere in there. I
26.
can't remember.
Yeah, it's only two normal seasons, I think.
Yeah.
So it's super easy to digest. You could bang that out in a week pretty easily, and it's just a really enjoyable show. I mean, it's super good. Like there's just very little to fault with it. So I definitely would recommend that.
That man Thor.
Yeah. And
Man.
then I would say if I had to throw a third one on that list, because those two are pretty like combat heavy, and like there's obviously other stuff in it, but they're similar, I guess, in scope of what they cover. I mentioned it earlier when I was talking about another show, but I'll add this one. It's not as user friendly as the other two in terms of like an anime. There are more tropes. There are more things that a seasoned anime viewer would see and go, okay, yeah, I get it, whatever. That you might see and go, that's a little odd. But I mentioned it earlier, and I'll mention it again. It's ReZero, and the reason I bring ReZero up is because it's one of my favorite examples of storytelling in anime. Not because it outshines all of the others, but because it has a very unique concept, and the way that they use that concept is extremely well fleshed out.
Yeah, when you hear that, yes,
yes, dude. It's
the crazy stuff gonna go down.
It's how do I describe this? I'm not gonna spoil absolutely anything about the show, but there's a very basic mechanic that structures the entire show, and I mean it's extremely simple. The thing is that you as the viewer, as the watcher, it's made available and aware to you at the same time as all of the characters, and it gives you a really plugged in feel. It's very difficult to watch that show and not question what's happening and try to figure things out. And like you guys were saying earlier, like Perfect Blue, it's a great example. That's a narrative masterpiece. I would say that this is just a easier to digest TV show style binge of a similar style of storytelling. It's something that you, if you watch, will watch with kind of a, but like, how do you get out of this? How does one solve this problem? How is this feasible? And the main reason why I like it is because, and this is a point I will stress immensely, that show has zero plot armor in the best way possible. Everybody is up for grabs. It don't matter your name. It don't matter how important to the story you think you are. Everyone in that show is up for grabs. And it's a very good example of just some good narratives. I said it earlier. Some of the character design, you might, if you watch it, you might be looking at my avatar like, Jackson,
Just some
you were
maids.
hating on this.
Just some maids cleaning things.
Yeah, get to it. Those would be my three. Those are three pretty entry level stuff.
You know what's funny thing is, Jackson, I think that ReZero is probably the best show in its genre. I can't think.
Really good.
I mean, there's some close seconds in my opinion. But I feel
What
like
genre are
That
you
was my
talking
question.
about?
The isekai.
Alright.
Oh,
Isekai.
yeah.
You're talking about the isekai genre?
Yeah,
You
not
said
like
ReZero's the best?
It's
well, in
good.
my
It's up
opinion,
there.
yeah.
At least.
In my opinion, I probably agree. I don't
I
really
mean,
fuck with
Yeah, I'm
isekai.
trying
I
to think
can't
of
really.
that
I'm thinking right now. I can't really think of a better one right now.
I guess part of what ReZero has going for it as well is it's got, because they introduced so many moving parts but did it very consciously, the story feels extremely fluid. Like it I will say, in respect to a lot of other shows, you get kind of like locked into an arc, and that's not a bad thing, but you get locked in the sense of like, say Hunter x Hunter, like I said, there's one arc where the entire focus of the show does not change for like 70 episodes. It's not a detriment because it's really good, but ReZero is a show where they like to subvert your expectations because they set it up 10 episodes ago. Did you pay attention? Like, did you catch that interaction? Did you catch this and this? Because the show is essentially a massive game of chess. It has nothing to do with actual chess, but the entire structure of the show is like watching someone play chess, but they're learning the rules as they play. It's very interesting. I really like it.
I would say, without getting into any spoilers, the second season perfectly captivates on that idea too.
Yeah.
Where like it'll even answer questions that you had from the first season that you dang near forgot about perfectly, and execute it perfectly back into the plot of what's going on.
Very good storytelling. Yeah,
Well,
that's my list.
I think all you guys had some wonderful recommendations. I mean, like, if y'all haven't seen these shows, or like you're really thinking about getting an anime, you gotta watch these shows. Yeah, it's mandatory. You know, and you know, as a host, I feel like I got a little cheap, but I'm gonna say one more anime. It's ugly as hell. It's ugly as hell, but I think y'all gotta check it out.
I know exactly what he's about to say. Oh my gosh.
Bobo, and that's it. I'm done.
Bro, you got these.
The jelly jiggler, bro. Bobo.
That show is so ugly, bro.
Nah, bro. But if you say Bobo, you gotta tell them to watch Shin Chan too, bro.
Bro, yes, bro. Y'all, look, I'm telling
Hey,
y'all, pay
for the
attention to what we're
listeners,
saying. Please, okay, what are you
facts.
saying?
This is a facts machine over here.
Y'all gotta
we
check
have
it
another
out.
episode about the underappreciated art of ugly ass anime, bro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't get me started because there's a lot.
No.
That's
That's another 40-minute topic we get to it.
I just said I know.
But hopefully you all, you know, enjoyed the anime talk. You know, like I said, if y'all aren't really interested in, you know, anime and all that, you know, it's all good. But I feel like hopefully we convinced you guys, you know, to check at least one show out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And for those watchers that do watch it and just haven't watched some of these shows, y'all gotta check out these shows, man. But other than that, you guys have any clothing thoughts or anything?
I'd say if you're watching on YouTube, please comment what your favorite is. Let us know what you think is your top, what the best genre is, and like, you know, so we can show some love for the people that haven't seen anything, so they just have like a multitude, so, like they're like set, you know, like we wouldn't let you leave
Let's give
here
them a list.
not knowing what you want. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna take care of you. We got you.
Although if your recommendations suck, I will fight you in the comments.
And
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm
kidding.
always up for debate, man. I'll listen to anybody. I'll listen
drop
to
your
anybody,
drop your controversial anime opinions in the comments.
But you
We'll
might
see how
wind
many
up
y'all
on
hold
that
up to
week's
the test.
episode if you say
You
some
might want to do
nonsense.
that. You will get destroyed. Just know.
Hey,
you
bro.
know.
7 Deadly Sins season 4. Yes.
Chef's kiss.
And on that note.
But all right.
That chef's
if you guys don't have anything else to say, you know, I think that wraps up today's anime talk. But thank you all for tuning into the 5 Cents podcast, and hopefully we see you guys next time for the next episode. Peace.
Peace out.
See you.